All right, guys, this is an exciting day today. We've done with the carpet on this boat, so we can move on to something else. The most important part, other than this carpet, is the electronics. And today is a nice day. We're gonna get started on the electronics. And what I have here, if you haven't watched my video, the beginning of this boat build, I got two Humminbird Helix. I got a 15 that I'm gonna put back here at the console, and a 12 that goes up here at the front. The first thing I got is this starting wire kit. It's got, should be everything you need except for one wire that I bought extra to get 2 units networked and installed with the actual transducers and all that good stuff. So that should be most everything I need. Like I said, I'm new at this Humminbird game, so but we're gonna go at it with this, which if you look at it, like I said, it's the starter kit for 2 transducers, which they got the through hole transducer right here that comes in the package. And the other thing I have is the head sensor. It's been a little bit of debate about that. Some people say they use 2 of these. I'm just going to start off with one. It's kind of confusing. If I put one up here at the front for the front unit and one at the back unit, and I hit waypoints up here at the front, that means it's, and I'm going to have the actual puck back by the engine over top of the actual transducer. So you're talking the confusing thing about having so many inputs of waypoints. If I input it up here and the transducer back there, I'm gonna be 20 feet off. And if I put one, just use one, everything would be off the back. So I wouldn't have to worry about, you know, if I'm at the console grafting or something like that, I know that my puck is back in the back, and if I'm up here at the front, I know I'll be 20 feet off when I go to it. So it wouldn't be, you know, 20 feet off here, 10 feet off there, that type thing. So it gets confusing. I'm just gonna go with one. My Lawrence has had one and it was okay to me. I mean, I'm just gonna go with one. So other than that, if you could go on Humminbird's site, and I got a little chart here. You can see different makeups and wire diagrams of how many units you got and all that kind of stuff. So this is going to help out a little bit, but it's not gonna, I mean, it's correct, but something like up here, my trolling motor is not an I-link. It's just a regular Minn Kota was it? What's the name of that thing? iPilot. It's just a regular iPilot. It's not the link. So this network cable that goes from there all the way to the actual hub unit, and I do have this hub unit, I'm not going to have that because there's no reason for me to network this trolling motor in because it won't do anything. This cable that comes out for the transducer that goes to this front unit, I will have that connected. But as for the actual link to the network for the trolling motor, I will not have that. And if you look back here on the bottom, these two transducers got the split Y cable. I will have the through hole transducer and the transducer on the outside of the boat in the back. So those two are gonna be correct. And the head sensor, which is this number 3 right here, is connected, but I will have it back here on the back of the boat. So and this, well, this is the head sensor, but I have a sensor that goes to my trolling motor, which is already connected, and that's Bluetooth to the trolling motor. So we're not going to worry about one of these, we're just going to use one. Other than that, everything will go to this hub, the network, both my units here in the front and the back. And like I said, I will have a Garmin up here, what that's not to do with this Humminbird network. So it's pretty neat. It helps you look what you need, that type thing, and you go on Humminbird's site, you can find that. So what I got to do now is, like up here at the front, I got to take this all loose again and get the cables that goes to my old Lowrance units. I got to get them pulled out first before I can have room to run new cables, because I got a lot of cable running through, and I believe it's like an 1.5 inch conduit that runs through this Ranger boat. So I got to remove things to put new things in it. So so let me get everything taken loose, and that's the same thing back here at the back. All these Lowrance cables will need to be removed. And like I said, I can finally get rid of this because I'm putting a mount up here in front of my console to get my 15 there. So all this will be going away. So let me get started with that, and we'll come back once I get we'll show you about pulling some of these cables out. I got one little trick about that, because that is what I do for a living. I run computer cable, so I know a little bit about running cable and what needs to happen to try to get some of that stuff out without having too much trouble. So let me unloosen some of this stuff and we'll come right back. All right guys, we are at the point. I got everything taken loose. I took my bracket out the way for my mounts, before I can get those out the way, before I can open this up enough. And just looking at what's in here that I need and I don't need, it's a lot that I don't need, because I've replaced, this is I believe it's 10 gauge wire that I ran for my units a couple years ago. I replaced these 10 gauge with some 8 gauge. I went all the way down to 8 gauge, and so I don't need these grounds and these 2 powers. So that's 4 cables I could take out of here, and plus this network cable that goes to back to my console. I can get that out of here. This is just a power wire. I just connected right here, so it only going this 4. So I'm gonna start by getting these 4 cables out of here. I'm just trying to make much room possible. I don't know if you probably can't see this, but this interduct that it runs in is probably 1.25 inches. So and it's probably got, I mean, good 6-7 more cables in it. So I need all the room I can get. And that's one thing people don't do, because I never really did it either, is take out the old cables that you don't need. It's gonna be a big deal in the back, where I got a lot more cable coming from the console to the back where the battery's at. So let's start by getting these out. And one thing in the cable industry is cable lube. I'm just gonna put a little bit on this, so it'll help it slide through once it get the friction of the other cable. This cable, I mean, it's kind of messy, but it works wonders when you trying to pull cables through. You really don't know the friction. Just the friction on some of these cables will stop that cable from coming through. If it's tight in there, just just the friction of those cables in there, it will hold that cable, and you be thinking it's stuck. It's just the friction of those cables holding each other. So we're gonna put a little squirt of that on there. I have a pull string going through there already. I'm gonna tie this down so it doesn't pull back through with these cables. And when I pull this network cable out, because I know it goes to my console, I'm gonna put another pull string on it with this network cable that's coming from the front unit to the back unit. So I'm gonna wait till the last bit to connect these cable and pull it through. So let me see if I can find something to tie this off on so it doesn't go anywhere. Because this pull string is probably tied up and wrapped around. Because when you pull cable and you pull a pull string with it, that pull string wraps around that cable as it goes through whatever it goes through. I mean, it's just nothing you can do about it. That's what's going to happen. So when those cables go back through there, it's going to be coming unraveled around that pull string. So you're just going to, if you don't want to get it everywhere, and we're just going to put a little glob of this here, and we're just going to rub it down. That's about all you need for these small cables. And please do not use soap like dish soap or anything like that. You think that's going to work? It'll get those cables through there, but once dish soap dries up, it's like glue. So I don't know if you remember when you was a kid and you riding around on your little bicycle, and well, you might not be old as I am, but the grip on the handlebars used to come off. And the way we used to put those back on there is with dish detergent. Put a little bit of squirt dish detergent in there and screw it back on. In a day or two, it won't come back off. It's almost like glue for some reason. If you don't have stuff like this, you probably can use, I mean, I would even go as far as using some cooking grease. Just get you a little slab of cooking grease and just put it on there. Something that's not going to dry up and be like glue. That's all I can tell you. I mean, I don't know if WD-40 or anything like that damages the wire, so I'm not suggesting you do that, but it's all up to you. Just don't use dish detergent. So let me go here in the back and see if I can find those cables and get those cables pulled out. So y'all take a look and see if those cables move once I pull on them. All right, we got those 4 cables out the way. Just pulled on 1 or 2 cables I didn't need to pull on back there. Just pulling them back out. Just trying to see if there's anything else. Okay, that seems like everything I need. If not, I get it later. But now I want to pull out this network cable for that old Iran. Some kind of demonstration video. It might take a little bit longer than a regular showing you what I did video. I'm showing you as I'm doing it type video. Trying to give you every little knowledge that I know, because this 2025 is going to be a teaching year. Like I said, a lot of us fishermen that's getting older, and a lot of new fishermen needs to know some of this type stuff that can help them out down the road. Believe me, hopefully I'm not going anywhere, but just letting you know. All right, so we got this network cable, and we want to get this other network cable ran with this cable. Okay, so we got two pieces of cable that we want to run. This one is going down in the line like this. So this new one's going to go on top of it. And you see the two connectors. We want those connectors staggered. That way it'll be less, you know, you can't put it like that. That's more space in that conduit. So we want to put them, I don't use white tape to tape cables together because it's a waste of white tape. So we got these two connectors. One's going down, back down in the pipe this way. So this one's gonna go right to follow it. So they together like this. Just start on one side and try to make it tight as you can, because sometimes you got a lot of stuff to go through and you want to have it good and tight so it don't slip. And what I try to do, I try to make this cable just a point. So I keep winding this tape on there until I get a point where that tape stops on that cable there. So this is the back half, so it's not a big deal on the back half, but on the front, when it goes through that cable, you want it to have a point on it so it'll open up cable once it gets into a place that it needs to fight through a whole bunch of cable. So we just making our rounds, try to get that point, but roll it a couple times on the end of that connector to get a little stiffness on that point for it just doesn't collapse once you pull some pressure on it going through something. Okay, so we got a point on that end. So when it comes through, like I said, my hand is cable, it should open cables up that it needs to run on down. And this is going to my console. So what I want to do, I'm just going to put a little bit of this, I mean, you don't have to have this stuff. I'm just doing it because I got it and I know it helps. Here she comes. Yes. Okay. This is the power wire for the Lowrance I had in there. 10 gauge. What kind of size fuses? 5. And I'm gonna put 7.5 fuses in all my electronics. Okay, it's through there now. As you can see, I just doubled it over. That way, it makes the wire a little bit bigger, the hole a little bit better in this connector here. So now I would go down and crimp the whole deal here for it won't. Same thing with the power wire, the red one. I just fold it over. Okay, now it goes in there good. Just crimp her down. If you want to, you can use your strippers just to give it an extra little crimp on it. I hope spring is coming. The birds are singing today. Getting almost 60 degrees outside. I just got my little butane torch here. And I'm just gonna shrink the outside of this connector. Okay, back here in the back, like I said, we got this 15 that's going back here. Trying to get to all the cables. Okay, here in the back, in the front, I'm not using the transducer for the front 12, Helix 12. And the quick note is, like I said, I got a Garmin 10 up there, and I already had a Garmin 9, so everything on that Garmin 9 transfers over to that Garmin 10, so I won't have to run any cables for that. It's up in the air about the transducer for that Garmin 10. It's got a what's the name of that transducer? G something 54, and I want to say that transducer for that 9 Garmin 9 is the same transducer, but if not, I don't even never use that anyway. So that's null and void. I don't need that anyway. But back here in the back for this 15, we got a new transducer we got to put in, cable. We got the power wire. We got the brackets and stuff for the transducer and all the mounting stuff for that. Okay, we got that. So we got the head and sensor cable. It has a Y cable with it. So that cable has to run from the back up to the console. This transducer cable got to run from the back to the console. We have the through-hole transducer that's got to run from the back to the console. And we got the Y cables that connect. One's going to connect to the through-hole transducer, and the other cable will connect. I got to get all this out the way. I got a mount that goes in there, that bolts in there, so I need to see how and what that holds to in there. So I got to move this tack unit down to that panel over there. Got to remove that. Got to remove my speed speed gauge over there. So I got plenty to do. I was just trying to get this cable knocked out the way, but I need to do some research on see what that cable is. So let me see. I don't know what cable I can take out of this run from here to here. Well, I take that back. I know it's plenty of what I can take out of there. Because if you look right here, I got all these old Lorenz cables. This goes to the transducer, so I can take that out. This is that network cable that went up there in the front. It's already at the bottom. I can take that out. This is the side scan, down scan. I can take that out. Power wires coming out and replaced with a new one. And I need to do some research on this NEMA cable. I don't think Humminbird uses these NEMA cables. And this one is going out there too. And plus all these cables would be coming out the middle of this console unit anyway. So that's all gonna be out the way. So let me get all this out of here. You've seen how I pulled these cables out, so you know how these cables come out of there. And years ago, I got a piece of fish tape, metal fish tape, stuck in this run. I'm gonna try to see if I can find that and see if I can pull that out. Either way, I don't know yet. I just know it's in there, and I know I haven't pulled it out, but we'll see. Just thinking in my head, is it anything else? All right, guys, I was getting ready to pull the cable that I need from out from under the console here, and I just seen something that made me kind of happy. Now that I look at it, I got my seats out, still working on those seats, and I'm looking up under here to see if I could see these cables coming off and over here through my little hole up under my console here. And I did notice that these, I thought that was a conduit running from, you know, up here all the way across here that goes to the back. But I'm looking up under here, I can see all these cables just droop down right here. And these are a lot of the cables that run up the side of this boat here. You can see them just loose. It's a conduit going through there, but that conduit's at the bottom. And I don't know if you can see all the way up in there. You can see those cables just go into a little chase up in there. It's not a conduit or anything. You can see where those cables go up in that little chase right there. And with these seats out, that's gonna make this a lot easier than now that I know that those cables doesn't go through like a conduit, which I thought they did. So those cables just going laid up in that chase, then it drops down, you know, it's just loose up there back behind the controls, just loose right there, and they just come out of this hole right here. All right, guys, I'm at the decision part in the road here. I got the two transducer cables pulled out of here for the back. So I got them all the way out the system. The next thing that I got to do is try to figure out this heading sensor. Like I said, this heading sensor goes to the, I'm going to take it to the graph in the console. So it needs to, I need to find a place that has no interference, no magnetic interference, because like I said, it's a GPS and it's got a magnet in here to keep it at the north, pointing north. So what I got here, I've seen this on YouTube. This is a compass basically, and if this compass find any, let me get you a little closer here. If this compass find any problem at a place where you want to put it, it would stop. Like I said, I got my scissors here. If I put those scissors there, like it's a metal interference or something like that, that needle would not stay at the point north. So I could turn this and you see that needle still in the same place. It is not turning with the actual compass. That means it's no interference right there. So I'm thinking about putting this puck right here in this bend of this boat to keep it out of the way for my fishing partner stepping on it and everything. The only time that you should be right here is taking a leak on the back of the boat. So I think this is where I'm going to put it, because like I said, I didn't see no magnetic interference around here. I'm gonna turn my ignition on to get say if the motor was on running, I'm still not getting any interference right here. That compass is still stuck at one position going north. Like I said, if it was interference, that magnet would go with the interference. It wouldn't stay pointing north. So I think I'm good right here, but the only problem is I'm gonna have to drill a hole in my boat. I mean, I thought about putting it right here, then running the cable over here, but that's really gonna be super ugly. I could probably put it right here, run the cable down there, but it's gonna pinch every time, and that's not gonna seal in there. So I think I'm stuck. I'm gonna have to drill a hole big enough to get this end in it through the back of my boat. And I'm not that happy about that, but it's got to be done. I mean, I drilled a hole for the last the Lowrance I had up there, so let's get to it. I guess there's nothing else I can do. I'm not drilling a hole in the side here. That's, you know, that'd be ridiculous, because I don't want to have to fix that. I can fix this carpet easier than I can fix any hole on the outside of this boat. So let's see about drilling us a hole in my new carpet. Okay, this is a 5/8 paddle bit, and the reason I chose 5/8, it's just a little bit wider than this connector here. And I did my looking up under the bottom of the boat right here and found out this spot is clear. I mean, it's a cable tray going right here, but out here in the back it is open. So I hate to do this, but better me than somebody else. Okay. And with this paddle bit, you're gonna have to go awful slow, because it's gonna try to grab this carpet. And if anybody knows, have drilled into carpet, knows that if it grabs those fibers, it'll start unraveling those fibers down through wherever they're coming from. So I'm gonna try to ease into this spot. Oh, go too far now. I will get my vacuum cleaner to clean that up when it's time. Just make sure this connector goes down in that hole, and we shall be good. So that's one hole in my carpet that just had to do. Okay, the cabling for the transducer. Like I said, I got a the main transducer. I got this Y connector and the through hole transducer. This Y connector has to go up under the console and connects in the actual box. I don't know what they call this connector to go in the back of the Humminbird, but it goes right here in this spot. So I was thinking I need another cable to connect that, but this cable has run all the way up to the console. Okay, this is what I got here. I got the head and sensor cable going into my hole here. I got the transducer cable going in the back here for the new transducer. I put it back in this container for it doesn't, I mean, little paper here for it doesn't scratch on the hard concrete there. And this through hole transducer is going to go inside up under my middle battery there. So I'm going to connect that once I get all these together, and we're going to pull that through. So let me get these cables together. Like I said, I'm going to have these cables staggered, and hopefully when they stagger they won't get caught on the same thing. They just will slide in there. Always gonna take just like butter. So I got those staggered where I want it. Now I'm gonna leave me a tail on this pull string before I can tie another pull string on it. And in the perfect world, if I just tie a knot on the back side of this, tie a knot on the back side of this and run my string, because it's going in this way. So you can actually tie another, well, it's a knot, but you just pull it and twist it and come over the top of it. It's another knot. So if you twist, you can tie another knot. So that's tied on there 3 times. So that's not going anywhere. Now you just take the crap out of it. And make sure you put your point on the end of the front of the cable here. Like I said, we always make a point. A smooth point too, not a straight jagged point. Just build you up some tape right here so you can make a tapering point. Okay, now that is going to go in there right easily, I think. Let me get me some slack on this transducer cable. Because that's going to be the hardest one to pull. Okay. Now I'm just gonna get my other pull string. We're gonna tie us we call it a surgeon knot. That's 1 loop, 2 loops, and tied in the granny knot. And that's not going anywhere. So we should be good to go. So let's pull these cables through. I'm back here where my seats are out. This is where I got the cable at now. But like I said, I pull the other side of my pull string out of this dang hole up here. And I can't seem to, let me get it again. I'll pull it tight. Just trying to direct that cable up in there now. Because when it's loose back here, you have to, it goes behind the controls and all kinds of stuff here. Okay. All right, I got those cables right here. Just trying to make sure I got enough. All right, that should be enough. If not, we can always pull some more. So, but we got them up here, so that's good enough.